So it's
Right.
good to see that everyone's doing well.
Yeah.
Just before getting on here, I've some of my experiences that I've been having. I find that my leads are definitely a lot more active.
Mhm.
Definitely, newer leads coming in are responding to my campaigns and reaching out. I actually had one that I already wrote a contract for. I mean, it's another BRA, which is great. We didn't get the
Yeah.
offer, but we're still looking together. And I have a lot of other people that are just kind of hitting up and saying book a showing and all that fun stuff. So
Yeah.
things are moving right now. I just feel that since summer's over, people are like, okay, well, the market did not crash, and now it's even harder for me to get in. And I feel that
Yeah.
a lot of people are now trying to figure out what they want to do just before the year ends, right?
Yes.
So,
No,
which
for
is
sure.
great.
Yeah.
Another thing that I would like to go over is more so like intentions of like just before you start picking up the phone and stuff. I think
Hmm.
it's more so of just creating that mindset of understanding that you're not bothering people, you're here to help people, and I'm going to be honest with you, and I'll play some of my live dials, but they're pretty much open to you talking to them as long as you
Yeah.
are scripted and you sound, not like an agent, right? You sound like a human
No,
being.
for
Um,
sure.
and the only way that you're going to get there is, script mastery, whereas that maybe you call a friend and you just get them to, give you objections, be a douchebag, be a nice person, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever lead it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
But
Right.
but the more you do, the better you'll be, and the more you won't sound like a robot. And
Yeah.
honestly, like that is such a difference in the calls.
Hmm.
And if you start asking the right questions, they do start opening up. So
Yeah.
I know we don't have a big class currently right now, but I know that there's always people coming in afterwards. But
Hmm.
anyone that's currently on the call now, do you have any fears or ways that you feel stuck or anything at all? Because then I can gear some of the calls that I have towards that to showcase what is available, right? So,
Hmm.
um, now's your time to shine. If you guys have any questions or any objections that you guys find a hard time dealing with, I'm here and I'm more than happy to help you out with that.
Yeah. Good. 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 One thing to point out too, I know for you, Nick, you will jump from back and forth from using dialer to your cell phone. One of the benefits of your dialer, for those that are watching here, is the fact that it is recording your calls. So you can listen back at your conversations to see, if the conversation didn't feel as good as you would hope it would feel, is to listen back at that call to see where you may need some areas of improvement, or, perhaps you're getting the same response or the pushback. Maybe we need to switch up how we're delivering those questions or how we're communicating with those people. And that's one of the benefits of using that dialer, is being able to listen back at those calls for your own coaching purposes, right? This isn't
I
working
totally
clearly.
agree.
I keep getting hard stops and no's, or I'm not interested, things like that. And really, we have to start to ask our questions. What are we saying on those calls that is getting those responses that we're not looking for, right? Because again, as you know, Nick, most of these people, they're not looking to move right away in majority of cases. So it's really about building those conversations first and foremost, and not looking for the sale right away. We
Right.
want to establish that initial relationship, and build the trust within the lead and the communication.
Totally right.
Um,
I
yeah.
actually use the dialer because just like what you were saying is sometimes when I think it's really great to track as well because sometimes if you fall off your follow-up, it's great to have that live call that you can quickly skip through to remember if you don't put your notes in, like what happened in that conversation. And sometimes you really find tidbits that maybe you didn't pick up on that first listen. So
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Chris is just asking what campaigns you're running.
Yeah, so I'm just basically running more so campaigns of, hey, thank you so much for coming in. This is kind of what we're looking for. Like one of my intros is more so just saying, hey, thanks for coming onto our website. It talks a little bit about me, so I just try to be a little bit more personal. And then kind of saying like, hey, yeah, like I'm here to help, so let me know what you're looking for. And we kind of go from there. So I am
Mm-hmm.
getting I am getting a lot of good opportunities there, that are people are reaching out and stuff like that. So it's been great. If you don't have campaigns, I would definitely try to do those, because sometimes you're not able to call all the time, right? And those campaigns are here to make it easier for you to make your follow up more automated, but not sounded so robotic,
Mhm. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's
right?
just casual conversation, right? The more casual you
Yeah,
can be. And really you gain that confidence through the more calls that you make, right?
100%.
So, you just kind of get, it just gets easier and easier with each conversation that you have with these individuals.
Totally, totally. I'm just looking at some of the calls that I have so I can just kind of play which ones would be the best, right?
Mhm.
Has anyone else have any other questions or anything like that?
Not yet. Not yet. Um, I'm sure there are some. So don't be shy, people. Don't be
Yeah,
shy.
right?
Again, if you are struggling with anything or having feel like you're hitting roadblocks or really not getting anywhere with your leads, the questions that you ask, in many cases, other people that are watching or will be watching and viewing this even after the fact can 100% relate to that, right? So it's not like you're
Right.
all alone on this. It's lead generation conversion isn't easy for many people.
No,
It is a struggle. So any question you have is not just beneficial to yourself. It's most definitely going to benefit any of the viewers that are watching this as well.
100%, 100%. I'm just trying to go through
Mm-hmm.
some of my calls here to see which one would be the best to showcase, because there's so many different scenarios that work out. And I think what's really
Mm-hmm.
important is just making sure, and also to I'll give you one of my leads to kind of go over. I'll share my screen in a second, but let's just go by. So I just closed these guys just a few weeks ago with their sales and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is he hit my cell phone number, so I won't be able to showcase that. Sorry, guys. Um,
And Chris, to answer your question, he's asking if Agent Locator sets up those campaigns if you do them yourself. Agent Locator does his Google campaign.
yeah, they do. They
Okay.
they do
Facebook.
give you a good start, which is
Mm-hmm.
great. But I think once you start learning what scripts works best for you, you start getting a better understanding of how to make those scripts. Because my scripts are more so just kind of things that I just always say when I'm on the phone. But I've tried to, create them in nice, tasteful pieces that will
Mm-hmm.
allow, sellers or buyers to engage with that, which is really, really important.
Yeah. And really, Chris, for campaign purposes, they're all fairly like generic campaigns, right? So they're generally people that are looking for properties in a specific area, and they're searching for those through Google. Now you do have the option of running Facebook campaigns, instead of Google, or parallel to Google. Facebook campaigns you can target a little bit differently. So if you're looking, for example, you can have campaigns, about, family homes in the Durham region under X
Yes.
amount of dollars. So with those types of campaigns, you have a say as to kind of what you're looking for. You're looking, for something specific, or even just generalized that, as those leads coming in, kind of what that ad is saying and why those people are signing up. So you can script, your calls reflective of that ad. So you're not just, randomly calling them. I know that there's, and I've heard that there is companies out there that run campaigns. They don't let you see anything of what they're doing. And then you get these people signing up and they don't know why they signed up, which makes it so much more difficult to when you
100%.
are reaching out to these people, because you have no idea why they signed up on your website, right? So you're just kind of, aiming for something and hoping you hit the bullseye.
Right,
So that's at least
exactly.
they do give you. They do give you. You know that we're targeting people that are looking for listings in whatever area, or like Facebook. Again, you can kind of tweak them if you want to kind of target a little bit more of a niche market. You can definitely do that as well.
Yes.
Uh,
There's a lot of things that you can do
so
with the system.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So Danielle is asking, how do you navigate people who are looking for a third party, i.e. their parent downsizing, their children looking for a first home, etc. So these are, we often get it, oh, I'm looking, my son and daughter or son or daughter are looking for a home. How do you navigate with those people? Because you're not necessarily dealing in that case with the purchaser. You're dealing with somebody that's the friend or family member of the person with the intent home.
So those are hard, right? So those are hard. I think the best way to kind of deal with those scenarios is obviously having that phone conversation, building a relationship. Generally, what I would be doing in those scenarios is more so just making sure I'm sending everything that is exactly what they're looking for. And also on top of that, maybe in the next email a day or two later is sending them other good tidbits about the area. So maybe if you see a Facebook post that something's opening up, or something that is relatable to them, I think that's a great way to start. And
Mm-hmm.
then from there, what I would do is like, hey, I totally understand that, like, you're doing it on behalf of someone, but is there any way that I can have that person's number so I can also get their information and then send it to both of you at the same time, just
Mm-hmm.
because that would be so much easier and on communication. If she does these things that she does, like, if she can't get a hold of you, then she can get a hold of me, or he or whoever can get a hold of me directly, and I can still facilitate and help you out.
Yeah.
But those are
Yeah.
tough though, right? Because you just don't know. There's
Yeah.
so many like different scenarios. And even when you do get the number, I don't know if they're going to respond because they don't know who you are, right? So it's kind of a
Yeah.
timing thing.
It's like an introduction too. You can request an introduction. Well, feel free to send this over to them. Here's my information. I'd be happy to help them.
Exactly.
And again, with the leads that come into your system. So again, at the end of the day, you are building a database, right? So even though you might be working with, talking to mom or dad who's trying to help their child find a home, mom and dad at some point are probably going to move.
Yes.
Right. So, regardless of maybe we're not going to make the deal off their son or daughter this time around, but if we maintain and establish a good relationship with mom and dad, and keep that relationship going, then increases the chances of getting that deal down the road. Oh,
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, you were cutting out there, but I
oh
understand
yeah,
what
my
you were
internet.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Never
it's
know where
all
your
good.
next deal is coming from. Yeah, I know. I've seen the little banner.
Exactly.
Your internet's unstable. It's like, okay.
I thought it was mine, so
No, it
I
was
was
mine this time. It was mine. But yeah, just know that, regardless of the person that's in your CRM, that's still an opportunity, right? Not be
100%.
a direct right now opportunity, but down the road it could flourish into something. And again, leads in general is all about building relationships with these people, because
100%.
you will and you can get referrals from these leads just because you're so
Yep.
helpful and communicative and friendly with them that they want to refer you. Like, this is a great person, da, 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 right? So it's treating everyone as if they will transact at some point. And whether that's, in the next few months or the next 3 to 5 years, for all you know, right? So,
It's so true. And I think, that is things that you need to just take into consideration, that, maybe that person there you might not help, but you just don't know who else you're going to help. Like I
yeah.
was telling a lot of people about, you probably heard if you listened to my calls the last couple of times, but generally, like, I had a deal in Whitby, so in my area here, that I built a relationship, did some sacrifices on timelines for them to see houses. When time came, they ghosted me. They listed their house with someone else, didn't do a good job. I kept in touch, and they ended up sending me 5 deals the
Mm-hmm.
next year. So you just don't know,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we just don't want to make like we don't want to just make like you know scenarios that might not be true. Do you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. It's hard to like create the mindset of just, okay, this is something that, those mental blocks, right? Because like how many times, and I'll be honest with you, there's many times where I don't even want to call a certain lead, but what I've learned from, just doing calls all the time is basically when you're not feeling like, let's say you get to, a lead, right? You look at it and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to call them. They weren't really nice to me last time. I don't really know, right? But
Mm-hmm.
generally, when I find that I get those feelings, those are the leads I should call, because usually when I call those leads, I will have great conversations with them and something might happen from there.
Yeah.
So that's my intuition sign that I've learned that definitely helped me out.
Yeah.
Another thing that I've been doing on my end, and I think it's really great, especially when you're doing calls, because calls are so dry sometimes, right? Where it's just like you're calling on to the next. Sometimes you don't realize how many you're calling. So I actually created a lead sheet on my end here. So what we can see is, like, it's number of calls, number of conversations, and that's what we're going for. It's not the number of calls, it's the numbers of conversations. So that basically means,
Mm-hmm.
like, for me, my schedule is a little bit more busier. So I try to go at least 10 to 15 contacts a day. But generally, when I was not as busy, I would be doing 20 to 30 contacts a day. And those contacts
Yeah.
are conversations. So that could be
Yeah.
text, voicemails, interactions, emails. And then what I did even further is, sometimes that we fall off is, I have a lead sheet of, like, okay, here are the people that I need to contact this week. And that, and any notes that need to happen. So this is another great way of being organized to make sure, okay, what am I doing this week? These are the people I have to
Yeah.
follow up with and see if I can get a deal from that, and then just go from there, right?
Yeah.
I think it's just being organized. And what I really do like about that sheet is that it feels good to tick things off. And it
Yeah.
feels good to know, you're making your conversations happen.
Mm-hmm.
So those are things that I would definitely try to do, you know what I mean? Because they're really, really
Mm-hmm.
good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find Susan's over here. So I'm gonna just go with one of the calls. One of the calls that I just had is similar to what you were going for. It wasn't, well, it was a mom looking for her daughter. So this was a
Yeah.
great opportunity here. So let me just share my screen over here. I'll just share this one over here. I know, sorry, my um, desktop is crazy. Okay,
Yep.
share some. Can you guys hear that?
Yep.
Okay, perfect.
Hello?
Hey Susan, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good. Living the dream. Hopefully you are too on this rainy day.
Yes. Yeah.
Nick Moretti giving you a shout. I actually just wanted to reach out just to thank you so much for coming onto our website, to View Homes on MorettiRealEstate.com.
Oh,
Yeah, and I just want to let you know that I understand that you're just looking for information. So, like, this is not a
yeah.
sales call. It's more of just, making sure that I'm contacting you to make sure we're sending you homes that you do want to see and give you a great user experience. Um,
Right.
so just over there, I know it was a quick little 30 seconds intro and I said a lot, but right over there, it just disarms anyone that is kind of thinking it's a sales call. And, because when you
Mm-hmm.
start saying, hey, is this whoever, or it's Nick Moretti, like, people know it's a sales happening right there, right? So
Mm-hmm.
right there, I just basically let them know that, we're just looking for information, just want to thank you for coming out. And we just want to make sure we're sending you homes that you do want to see. I mean, who's going to get mad at that? And if they are,
Yeah.
like, that's on them. That's not on you, right? So we'll continue the call from here.
Actually, it's more for my sister. She's looking for a property, and I'm kind of like looking around at certain areas, and I think that area that you're located is very nice. So
Yes,
that's
yes.
she's actually right at the present. She's in Collingwood. So she's going to be selling, and she's looking for a new property. So yeah, you can contact me if you see anything. Like, she's single, so she's looking for either a condo or something smaller.
Yeah. Totally understand. I appreciate you giving me a few more information. Can I just ask you a few questions just to make sure that I'm sending you the right stuff, if that's okay with you?
Sure.
Cool. So and I think, sorry, just before I go on, I think it's really important to showcase that, like, let me ask you a few questions. I mean, you don't have to say that, but I think, it's a great way to be like, okay, this is where I'm going next with the conversation. Are you okay with that? Because once they say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you have their attention, right? Like, and that's
Yeah.
what it's about. That you were looking in Clarington, so, is there certain communities that she wants to be in? Is she kind of set on being in Durham region, or does she want to be?
No, she isn't. It's just like the east end, like the east. Like
Mhm.
right now, like she was in Toronto for a while, and so we're actually very familiar with like Belleville,
Yeah.
all that
Yeah. Yeah.
that direction. She has her daughters that are in Montreal, so she needs something close to Toronto, but like on that route kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
I totally
that's
understand
why
what you're
I'm
saying.
looking around and want a community that she feels like
Safe.
has a little bit of walking areas, and because she's into hiking, it's very safe
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah. So she
Yeah,
wants like
so that's
certain
it.
lifestyle there. Okay. So
Exactly.
so yeah, if she's looking to go more east, let's say, Coburg would probably be some really good options there.
Yeah, yeah.
And you'll get a little bit more price
It,
discount. Sorry.
yeah. What? Just for curiosity, is
So just before I go on there, it's really important to know your market. The reason why I'm getting so far in these calls is because I'm telling them things before looking at them because I already know what it is. So, really do your due diligence in the market.
does the train go that way, or like
I think it stops
the
in
GO train?
Oshawa right now, but they
Oh,
are
okay.
making plans to go to that far because
Yeah.
Clarington is, I believe they're starting to work on Clarington next week, or
Oh,
not
okay.
next week, next year, sorry, and like
Yeah.
literally start expanding that way there. It will be
Mhm.
expanded, but it's not there right this second.
Okay. Well,
Um,
she's got a car anyway, but it's
yeah,
it's sometimes it's good to know whether or not you
easier.
can access.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And then if she's considering to even go to Brighton or Belleville, like there's definitely some,
Right.
better price adjustments there, right? I do service
Yeah.
area, so I've actually done one client's actually just bought like a smaller detached house there for under 500K, and it's actually really nice.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I can include like, would she consider like a detached that's like a 2 bedroom or a 3 bedroom, or does she just want a
Yeah.
condo?
Yeah. It's a smaller. Yeah. Something smaller. Something so that there's only her right now. So.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Like,
Is there a certain
She
area?
doesn't want something with a lot of maintenance. That's all I'm saying. Like.
Yeah, I understand.
She does
So
a lot
something,
of traveling and stuff like that. So she's kind of like more on the I'm retired and I'm going to be like turning the key and
yes,
heading down
yes.
places
So,
and stuff.
so I think Clarington, like now understanding a little bit more, like I think Clarington and Coburg, like those type of areas
Mhm.
would probably be really good. I think Belleville will be great too, but there's not many newer condos there. Sometimes
And
in a
I
great
think
area.
Belleville's a little bit farther east, even though she
Yes,
has her kids in Montreal.
yes,
But
yes.
yeah, it's a little bit, and she does have equity. Like she has enough that she's not really concerned about like
Yep,
cheap. It's more
yep,
location because she's,
yep.
as I said, she's had properties in Toronto. She doesn't
She
have
knows what it is.
exactly. She doesn't have
Yeah,
those restraints with money. I mean, obviously she
for sure.
a certain price range, but she's not looking to get something cheap because she
I
can't afford
understand
it.
what you're saying. Yeah. No, I understand. Because like I can
Okay.
send you Oshawa in that list, but I don't know if she'll love Oshawa, but I'll send it to there.
I'm not a big fan of Oshawa,
Okay,
I'll be honest.
okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's
But do you see like asking questions and like figuring it out with her, figuring
Mhm.
out what they're looking for? This is a little bit more easier just because she's opened up to me. But the only
Yeah.
reason why she's opened up to me is because the first minute of the call. That's why.
Yeah.
Because I
Mhm.
came correct. I came with, value. I came with information that she wants to know and understand more. And I'm able to just give that to her. So the more that
Mhm.
you're able to do that on the fly and be correct, not just be wrong, but be correct with it, the better and the better chances you have.
But I mean,
We're
there's other places like a little bit further. Where is that place? See, I'm not that familiar either. And Sandbanks is beautiful, but it's a little bit too far too.
yeah.
Like that location's a little bit too far. I mean, she's looking for something beautiful, like
Yeah.
a nice
I think Clarington and Coburg is where it's at. So I'll update those
exactly.
search criteria for her. I mean, I live in
Right.
Bowmanville myself, and I've been here for a while,
Yeah.
so I know what it is. And also North Oshawa too is definitely a lot different than what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
There's also a little bit more crime and stuff happening there on the north end.
Right.
So if she's single, we want to make sure she's safe, right? At the end of the day.
Right. Yeah.
Now, do you know if she has an agent down there?
No.
So asking the right questions, right? Like instead of just saying,
Mhm.
okay, thanks, I'll send that off to you. I'm now qualifying, okay, like is this actually gonna happen? You know what I mean?
She
Mhm.
doesn't. She's not. She's actually. I'm just doing it for her.
Fair enough.
because she seems to be like a little confused of where she
It's
wants to
hard,
go.
right?
So
Yeah.
I am just looking out for her.
Yeah,
I'm
for
trying to
sure.
look for nice areas she might be
For sure.
interested in.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
So she should be
yeah,
looking at like and I'll send you these, but just to let you know, like Aspen Springs, like the newer building, like 84 or 80, those are
yeah,
something that I think she's gonna love. They're between the area in Bowmanville.
yeah.
Liberty North is really good too. There's not many that come up there, but that's good. If she's
Yeah.
looking for freehold, like attached house semis, they're about 7 to 800K. So I don't know if she wants to spend
Yeah.
that much. But if you're
Well,
going to Coburn,
she definitely could. And what I'm saying is that basically, the nicer the better.
yes.
She's looking in that range anyway. So like
Okay,
she's
cool.
in something a lot more money than
I understand.
that
Yeah,
now.
I understand.
So yeah.
I
So that's what
understand.
I'm saying. What she wants to put roots down, and to be honest, like
100%.
this probably will be the last time she wants to move again. Like
For sure,
she's
makes
moved
sense.
around a bit,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Yeah.
So
So what I'll do, because you gave me a lot of great information, so I appreciate that. I'll definitely update the list for you. And then is there a time where she might be coming down in the next couple of weeks by any chance?
I'm not sure because she's actually going to Florida. She has a condo there that she's presently selling. So I don't know. Like, I don't know how long she's staying in Florida. She wants to tie it all up and everything. So
Sure.
I can't tell you what, like,
Yeah, no, no,
yeah,
no. The only
yeah,
reason why I'm saying that just because if she ever is in the area and you are liking some things that I'm sending, I think it's
yeah,
really good for her to maybe start seeing some of those before she even puts her Collingwood house for sale. So at least she
yeah,
has a little bit more info because right now we're in the summer, kind of heading into, the fall market. And right now there's a lot of great inventory. And like as we get into the fall, there's less, right? Which is fine.
yeah.
But there's some really good options. And I understand that there's no rushing to this, but I just kind of want to let you know that if she's ever in the area and you are seeing listings that
Yeah, yeah.
she does like,
Well,
I'd be happy
she
to
does.
take you guys.
Yeah, we do sometimes travel up towards Montreal way.
Yeah,
So that would literally be on our way. So when that happens, we'll definitely,
for sure.
try to make an appointment or something like that.
For sure, for sure.
Okay.
Let me send you good things that you want to see. So I'll do that, and I'll do minimum like 2 bathrooms, and then 1 bathroom.
Yeah.
And then I'll also include like condos, attached houses, and anything in that range from basically 5 to 800K, if that's okay with you.
Okay. Sounds
Does
good.
that sound good? Okay, cool. Well,
Yeah.
hey, Susan, thank you so much for not hanging up on me.
Okay,
I really
thank
appreciate
you.
that, and have a great
No
day,
worries.
okay?
Okay, you too.
So very, very fluent, very easy call.
Mhm.
My personality is I really try to make people laugh. I mean, that's just me.
Mhm.
So I would, that's my approach to, chatting with people. So just try to be as genuine as possible because,
Yeah.
that was good. Listen back. The problem is I have such a high D personality that when someone tells me something, I'm ready to say something back. And sometimes on these calls, I'm literally holding my mouth. I'm like, hey, Nick, shut up. Shut up, shut up. Because I have so much information, right? And
Mhm.
that's what she wanted. So, that's kind of how I done my calls when it's someone in the middle that's dealing with it. So now it's just follow-up game, but
Yeah. No,
so that's
absolutely.
that's where it's at.
It's good that she was willing to talk to somebody, right? So
Yeah,
she wasn't opposed to it. She is trying to look out for the best interest of her sister as well. At the same
100%.
time.
100%,
So,
100%. So there's a lot of like, that's the ways that you want to do it. Remember, like you're not going to just, it doesn't really happen where you just call someone and it's a slam dunk. They do happen, but it's not always like that. And
mhm.
sometimes you just have to just work it, right? And that's the thing, right? And we have to remember that they don't really know who we are yet. It's just someone calling online and think about yourself on how many people call you randomly and if someone is pretty good, then you'll give them a little bit more time. But then at that time, it's more of just showcasing value and where to go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
But
That is
that is pretty much on that end, how to deal with that. I'm just trying to find some other scenarios that may be great to listen into. But does anyone else have some objections on like, what is kind of happening or, what they're another objection that's a little bit harder for them? So yeah.
mhm. either objections or any questions with respect to that call.
Yeah,
As
and I
well.
can go over anything.
Anything? We do have a lot more viewers that are sitting in here. So just as previously discussed, and it doesn't have to do with these calls, it could just be with your leads in general, or situations that you are encountering when reaching out to them. Because again, anything that you're asking is going to benefit several viewers that are watching this. There's a lot of you in the same boat when it does come to your leads. It's not easy. It's not easy. It gets easier, but in the beginning or as you're still trying to figure out your own path, it definitely can be a struggle. And we just want you to be successful at it, really, at the end of the day, is
100%.
the ultimate goal.
And like, remember, like Agent Locator is doing this to make sure, and I'm doing this to make sure you guys are pretty much taken care of. And, you know, if you're making your calls throughout the whole week, then, you know, you should have some objections. And if you're not, I'm assuming that none of you guys call unless you guys are better than me in closing 10 deals a month. I hope you are.
Yes. Chris is asking, do you have any calls where the person is ready now? Do you try to make an appointment to get the BRA signed, or do you start showing them homes and try to ease them into the BRA?
Okay, so great question. So there's a few ways on how you want to do this. I will have to go through my call list just to take a look on them. But before I started doing more of the sales calls, I've been doing like the calls on Twilio on like the system here. I was doing more on my phone because I was mobile at that time. So I don't know if I have a recording of them. I know I have some, but I just have to detail them, and maybe I can showcase that next class. But generally, this is where it's at. So, okay, so you get, let's say an email, okay? I'm not even going to say a call, but let's say you get an email, someone wants to book a showing. Okay, so what I do is I message them saying, hey, you know, thanks for reaching out. Perfect. When were you thinking of going? You know, did you want any more information, or did you want to find out any specific information about this house? So if they respond back and they're like, yeah, we want to go Tuesday at 5, whatever. Yeah, we want to know what the lot size is or whatever, right? So I respond back saying, okay, no problem. Let me book for that time and let me see if it's available, and I'll get back to you. So, you know, and then I say in the bottom there, are you available for a quick call? So I can go over all the information and give you more information that you may not know about the listing. And all I'm doing is just trying to get them on the phone first to qualify. So once they get on the phone first, let's say they're cool, okay, talk to them. I find out some information about the house. Now, you know, I'm letting them know what it is. Now we're in that conversation where it's like, okay, also, you know, we are confirmed for the showing, but here's a few things that you need to know. So number one, you know, just so I'm not stepping on any toes, are you working with another real estate agent right now? They're going to say no, or maybe they'll say yes. But let's say in this case, they say no. I go, okay, perfect. So now in the event when we are going to look at houses, just to let you know, when I'm taking buyers out, you know, usually I do sign them exclusively for 60 to 90 days. However, in this event, you know, you're just meeting me, I'm just meeting you, and we want to make sure that we're a great fit for one another, okay? So instead of signing you exclusively for 60 to 90 days on the property, I'm going to just sign you 30 days on the property. And basically what that means is this is just a test run. So I'll book the showing, you know, you'll see from me that, you know, how my service is, and, you know, we'll see if we're a great fit. But in that time, you know, if you don't like me or you don't like the house, you're more than welcome to go to any other listings with any other people. But it's just with this house, you're working with me on it. Any of the ones I show you, you're working with me. So, you know, that makes sense because I've had a lot of people, and I'm not saying you in this case, but I'm just saying I've had a lot of people that said no, and I go showcase the house, and then they end up ghosting me, or I see that they sold the house later on, because remember, I'm a real estate agent. I can see who buys the house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't think you're that person, but we're building trust with one another, and this is how we build trust. That's what I said. That's it.
Yeah.
And then from there, if they're not interested, then see you later. And I'm going to be honest with you, the people that don't sign are already working with an agent. Because if I lay it out like this, and let's just say they go, oh, I don't want to sign anything. I go, okay, if you don't mind me asking, why don't you want to sign? What are you uncomfortable with? Oh, I don't want to be committed. Oh, is that because you're committed now? No, I'm not. Or you'll start picking up hints of like what's happening. And, you know, at the end of the day, remember, this is just to see this property. Remember, if I'm not a great fit, or I feel like I'm not a great fit for you, then, you know, it's just this. And at the end of the day, you got to see a person, and you got to see the house that you want to see, you know? I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't really get too much when I say it like that. I don't really get too much
There's
pushback.
yeah. And again, like, think about anyone like that's watching. Think about yourself in a situation where you're dealing with a professional, where there's a contract. Let's
Exactly.
say for a lawyer, for example, before you can even go meet them, they're asking you to sign this and give them a retainer. Well, I haven't even met you yet. I'm not going to sign anything until I actually meet you, because I want to make sure you're the right professional for me. And that kind of goes hand in hand with this. If we go, and if somebody was to approach me and I want to go, let's say, look at a property, and they're trying to get me to contract with them for 90 days or longer, even 60 or even 30 days, just generalize, I'm going to be like, no. I don't even know who you are. I don't know how you work. Our personalities might not match. So I think, as Nick is saying, give them the opportunity to look at one property with you. It's like a working interview. Right?
Exactly.
Because you're showcasing, you're seeing if you guys mesh. You could become great friends and you just click. You could feel a lot of resistance, and you guys say, you know what, this is not a buyer that I want to work with. I don't feel like this is going to end well. It's going to be a headache. So yeah, like how Nick says, is giving them the opportunity to look at a property, safeguarding yourself with that one BRA just for that specific listing. So they're not locked into you for the whole market. It's just that one property, so that you're protecting yourself at the same time as giving them what they want.
Totally understand. And like, if you're saying that and you're a reasonable person on the other end, you're going to say, okay, I understand. Now, the next hardest part is, let's say if that question gets answered, let's just say, yeah, they're totally cool. Then the next part is like, okay, perfect. All I just need is a driver's license, and I'll send everything to your email to e-signature. If they now send you their driver's license, you got them. And the best part about this is that most agents are not doing this. So now they know, they're like, shit, I got a good agent because I've never been asked this, right? And number three, which is really, really good about it, is they're already signing with you. So now to write an offer, it becomes even more easier because they've already initialed something with you. So this is all the great things. Now, it gets sticky when someone says no, or you have to make the decision. So I'll give you an example. So I went to go showcase a property for someone, never even talked to them on the phone, okay? They emailed me and want to go see this property. No problem. I was thinking of calling them and doing this whole spiel, but I was like, you know what? Let me take the risk, right? At the end of the day, I wasted an hour of my time if nothing came through from it. So I get to the house, I wait there for 10, 15 minutes. Like, so I'm already thinking like, oh my God, I'm already kicking myself in the ass. I'm like, I should have done this. I should have done that. Then I see a car coming in the driveway. So they come through. Thank God I didn't get stood up. So I showcase the property. And after, going over all the information, all that, they want to write an offer. So I ended up putting an offer in and getting them under a BRA now exclusively. So it's what I'm trying to say is, you just don't know, right? And that's the thing with these online leads. You have to either take, like, for me, I have a one viewing like risk that I'll take for myself. Generally, I don't like to do that because, I'm busy. And if I'm going to put someone else in front of you that's not signed, when I have 10 people that are signed, what am I doing there? You know what I mean? And I think that's another value to say. Like, sometimes I even say that too, depending if they're just on the fence there, be like, listen, I do want to help you. It seems like we're a great fit. I'm answering all your questions very, very well. And clearly you're finding value from it. And I just essentially go and say, like, this is just showcasing how we work together. This is, it's not really a big deal than what it is. At the end of the day, I'm not an agent that's going to hold you down. If you don't want to work with me, chances are I don't want to work with you. It's a very rare scenario that happens, but, we have to make sure that we're both on the same field, right? Or else this partnership won't work. And I think, being upfront and letting them know about things like this is what's really going to help you in those calls. But it's really like a mental like disbelief that people will sign. I get a lot of people signing all the time.
Well,
right?
And you know what though? What is the new the new real estate regulations that are coming out that they're still, what is it called? I can't think of what it's called.
Yeah, it's Tressa. It's like
Tressa. Yeah. So from what I've gathered, and in just speaking with Tara, and what she gathers is that when Tressa comes into effect, you guys are going to be protected for any property you show. because
Perfect.
the client, the individuals that are viewing the property, in order to view it, have to decide, are they viewing this property as a customer or as a client? Right. So either way, if you show them a property, they're signing something, which means that they have to use you to transact on that property. So for anyone there that is working in, in rural areas, I'm sure you get it the most, where you've got city
Exactly.
agents sending their buyers down there to go look at houses with you. Obviously, if it's your listing, you're trying to sell your listing, but often, sometimes it's not your listing. You're running around doing showings for someone, and they do a deal with, the contract with somebody else, or the offer with somebody else. So the Trista, from what Tara gathers, is actually going to protect you guys in those situations, because it's going to be required that either they have to sign as a customer every time they view a property. It's a requirement, or they're signing off you as a client as BRA. Which will be interesting to see.
Interesting.
I
I know.
think it'll help a lot of it, and it'll get more comfortable, because regardless of who the person is, they have to sign something with you in order to look at something.
Right.
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 So
Right.
it just becomes, natural unit, but at the same time, it's easier. You're like, okay, well, we keep doing this as a customer each time you're going to look at a property. Let's just sign this as a client, as a BRA, because instead of doing this every single time you want to go look at something, we now have one that blankets all the properties that we're viewing.
Totally. But this is a great practice before then, so you're already
Oh yeah,
comfortable talking about
absolutely,
signature.
absolutely,
You
it is.
know,
It's
and
it's.
I think too, like, don't be scared to be bold. Like I've learned
Mm-hmm,
that very early in my career. Like, don't be, obviously don't be a dick, but like don't be
mm-hmm,
scared about having hard conversations. I mean, real estate is all about hard conversations. For example, how many times
mm-hmm.
have you had a buyer that is 50 grand short and you're trying to work them up to win the house?
Yeah,
That's a hard conversation,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
I had a sign call on one of my listings that we ended up putting an offer for a property late at night. So call it 6 o'clock. I submitted it, trying to figure out what's happening, get a message from 9 o'clock from the agent saying do it tomorrow, no problem. I'm in bed at 10:30 now, like literally about to close
Mm-hmm,
my eyes, going to bed peacefully. I get a call and I was like, okay, I'm not going to check it. And then I hear another, like a message, right? So I read the
mm-hmm.
message and it's the listing agent saying, oh, we're doing offers tonight. We got a better offer that is doing it tonight. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to kill you. My client's older. They're going to bed at 9 o'clock. So I don't even know if
Yeah,
I can get them. And I was just
yeah,
grinding this person a little bit because I'm like, dude, like you can't be doing this right now.
yeah.
But anyways, it is what it is. So message my client, let them know what it is. I didn't really think that they were going to come up, to be honest with you. I thought it was done. Um, this person wanted the house so bad that we ended up winning that night.
Mm-hmm,
So, and I got them up another 50, like 30K or 35K that, just they wanted it at that time. So
mm-hmm,
the house was very nice. It was renovated, so there was no issues on there. But my client went in with home inspection. That person, now I was able to get that waived. Well, I'm not going to say it was me. Like I just talked to her. She was comfortable with it. It was a newly renovated thing, so it was fine. But sometimes you can't make your mind up
mm-hmm,
for the client because you don't know.
mm-hmm.
You don't know. Don't make assumptions. Ask the questions, even if the question seems like, sorry, I can't say that word, but stupid. It's just like throw out the question and just like figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Because I made an assumption thinking that that person wasn't going to win, and they wanted to win. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so thankful I threw out all the questions, right?
yeah.
And that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
where it is. And I think we can't just assume for our clients. Ask the
No,
question, either if they want to or they don't. That's great.
yeah.
And I think what I do a little differently is I don't say, I reframe thing a little bit differently. So I just let them know if we're losing and be like, hey, this is what it is. We're losing. This is where I think we need to be. The agent's being tight-lipped. It's very hard to know, but they do like our offer. They do like how we structured it. So they do want to work with us. It's now a price game. So then,
Mm-hmm,
I think that this is the number. How do you feel? What do you think? Right? Like
mm-hmm.
I don't just tell them what it is. I tell them and I'll be
Yeah,
like, okay, this is what I think it's going to be to win. How do you feel about that? Is that something
yeah.
that you're interested in, or is that something you're not? Because then at that point, you're not being sales. You're just giving them the
No,
information and you're
yeah.
asking them,
And they're
what do you want
making
to do?
and they're
Yeah,
making the decision at that point. Do we
yeah,
want to do this? Right?
exactly. And that way you have no issues later on, right? Like,
Mm-hmm,
I don't really push people. The only people I pushed are the buyers on our listings.
mm-hmm.
That's it. But
Yep.
when it comes to me dealing with our buyers, it's literally coming down to what are you comfortable with,
Mm-hmm. That's,
right?
yeah. And again, the importance of not assuming, they're not going to go for it, or I'm not even going to bother. We're not even going to bother. Like, I know they won't go that far,
Yes,
right? But you have to ask, because you never know, right? There may be that those extra funds, or that might be, as you said, the perfect property that they're willing to go the extra steps and lengths for, to make sure that they get that home specifically,
100%.
right?
100%. And sometimes we don't know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I bet every agent here has assumed at one point, and I was
Mm-hmm.
guilty of it. But what I've learned through my career and through the experience is just throw out all the questions and see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
That's it,
Yep. Yep.
you know?
That's a man.
And
And it
that's
can
pretty much
backfire
it.
you on as well, right? Because I'm sure in
Oh,
some cases where you did assume and you may not have answered the questions, it could have completely backfired on you. If it's like, and personally myself, I feel like I would be upset with my realtor if they assumed something about me, and you know, communicated that with another realtor if I was putting an offer on it, rather than asking me the question, because again, my answer could have been different than what was assumed,
right. And
right?
and when I got that message at 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night, like I didn't call her because I didn't want to like wake her up in that kind of regards. So I
Yeah.
just kept texting her and she responded back, and the deal was done at 1 a.m. Okay. So
Okay.
then the next morning I'm like, congratulations, it wasn't a dream, it was real life. Right? So
Yeah.
it was good, right? And that's what it is. And I think, the most important thing about this business is having fun with it. It's so
Yeah.
serious sometimes that if I think that we have to take a step back, okay? Take a step
Mhm.
back. Think about when you go to, like, if you ever do go to Gucci or Louis Vuitton or any of those high brands. It doesn't even have to be
Mhm.
with fashion. It could be with Tesla, it could be Benz, it could be BMW.
Mhm.
Think about how they greet you and think about how they do what they do at a high level. And if you haven't gone through them, go to them. Go to those stores. Go to a couple to see how people are coming up to you, what their follow-ups are, how they, communicate with you, and how they, I wouldn't say sell, but how do they solve your problem? Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Once you start understanding how those luxury brands are, at the end of the day, they all give a different experience. So the key word here is an experience. So when you're working with people, what type of experience are you giving them? Like, are
Mhm.
you getting them coffee? Like, not every time, but are you getting them coffees or teas if it's like a home inspection? Or, are you getting
Yeah.
food for home inspections? Are you also just, making light of the scenarios, meaning like, obviously there's a problem, you don't make light of that, but you make
Yeah.
sure that, like, they're happy, they understand what they need to do, and really dive deep on, like, hey, what do you like to do? Like, what are your likes? What are your wants? What are your needs? And I'm not talking about real estate, I'm
Mhm.
talking about personal, right? Like,
Yeah.
learn more about your clients, because at the end of the day, once this deal's done, you're going to have another client in your database that you're going to hopefully facilitate and keep in touch. And you never know where the referrals are going to come from. And,
Mhm.
remember, I built my business when I left the team once COVID hit, and I built my business through Agent Locator. All I did was just keep racking in the leads, keep racking in the deals. And then 3 years later, you look back and you're like, holy shit, I have so many clients now. So it's
Yeah.
just keep focusing one day at a time. And I really, really do feel that these calling sheets for myself definitely make a difference.
Just
So,
tracking. Just tracking
yes,
accountability. Kind of makes it almost like a game for you as well,
exactly.
right? It's a
Exactly.
challenge to see. And then again, for any of you, I know for you, Nick, anyone that's on your team, you have that set requirement of what your expectations are on a
20
daily basis
contacts a
when it
day.
comes to the leads,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So,
Yep. And you know what?
um,
Agent Locator is a great way to get scripted and get started. But remember, like, now
mhm.
you've learned how to do online leads. So, now you can take that and maybe use that on your open house scripts or whatever it is,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
think at the end of the day, don't be scared to call. Make sure you're call. Like, remember, when you're uncomfortable, that's when you should be doing things. Don't be trapped in,
Mhm.
like, and honestly, I'm guilty of it because sometimes I'm just comfortable and I don't want to do it. But like, we have to learn to be uncomfortable to keep growing, because
Yep.
we're in a marketplace that is consistently changing every day.
Mhm.
Sometimes not good, sometimes good. But in the last year, it's been tough. So,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
only way to survive right now is communication, showing value, and communication. That's it.
Mhm. Yep.
That is it. So those are the successes that I'm getting on that end. And recently, this is the thing too. Like I've had a lot of people this year that I contacted last year from Agent Locator. Like, I mean, like I was
Hmm.
always in communication with them, right? But
Yeah.
coming to timing, it all starts going here. And
Yeah.
this is the thing. Maybe you're doing only 3 Agent Locator deals this year, but you don't, if you continue, you don't know what's going to happen next year. You might do 10,
Yeah.
you might do
It's
15.
it's
Do you know what I mean?
compounding, right? So
Right?
your conversion rates are always compounding because again, when we look at the average conversion of let's say 6 to 24 months, um, if you have your leads this year, let's say, and your average conversion rate is anywhere between 1% and 2%. So you convert 1 to 2% of your leads that came in this year. Well, all those, the rest of the leads are still in your system. So as long as you're nurturing them, you're going to do, like, say, next year, you're going to do 1 to 2% on the new leads, plus you're going to potentially do 1 to 2% on the leads that you generated from the year prior. And so as long as you have that strategy and the consistency and you're on top of things, your conversion rates are really only going to increase year over year. You're going to find
For
more
sure.
success. It's never get rich quick, right? It takes time to get the first deals. And I know with you, Nick, what you had personally done is you started off with a relatively mild budget because you're a solo
Yes.
agent going on your
Yes.
own.
Yes.
But as soon as you started to gain the transactions, you were taking that money and throwing it back in to help build up your
100%.
business. So it just keeps
100%.
going and going and going, right? So it's you're
Exactly.
using your deals and transactions as stepping stones to elevate because again, the more leads you're getting, the more opportunities you have to convert those individuals.
I totally
So
agree with you.
yeah.
And it's funny because I actually closed a buy and sell this year just
Mhm.
recently from these leads being 3 years.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
me, like that tells me that I know what I'm doing to follow up, and like
Yeah.
I'm building
Yeah.
great relationships that people will still
Hmm.
continue to use me. So those are kind of what it is. But you don't get these successes until you start being consistent and calling and documenting and
Hmm.
doing all this stuff.
Yeah.
But I know that we're kind of getting to the end here. So does
Yeah.
anyone else have any questions at all that we may have not covered or that you want to get covered before the end of this call? No.
Yeah. I don't see anything popping up.
All right.
Not for me.
Well,
No. Nothing.
I hope everyone has a great day. Crystal, you're always the
Yes.
best. If anyone has questions about, how to be more productive or even questions about the CRM, I still do, but I has always been to Crystal. She was able to always help me out and give me the best guidance for where I was at that time. So,
Mhm.
if you're not finding success somewhere, then maybe reach out and start finding people to help you out.
Sounds good. Awesome.
Cool. Well,
Well,
thank you
thanks,
so
Nick.
much.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick. Thanks,
So,
everyone that came in. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
yeah, bye.
Okay. Bye.